So my next question is whether it's a trade skill or, one of those human skills, do any of you have insight on how you might train those, or maybe how you go find that in your candidate pool or in your existing workforce?
You can, I think there's two ways, right? The way that organizations need to think about talent selection is going to be different, right? And the way that organizations need to think about talent development is going to be different. One, I think from a selection standpoint, just by the fact that we have so many people on this call, I mean, obviously this is a really big topic, and organizations that are on here today, I'm sure are I mean, nobody would be here today if they weren't really thinking about this, right? But it is an incredibly important thing when you're thinking about talent selection, that if you're still in the mode of, hey, I'm going to go through this pretty subjective process, people are going to apply, I'm going to give it to a hiring manager is going to figure out if this person can sell, and if they can, we're going to hire them, or we're going to give them a shot, or if this person can code, then we're going to go through some interview process, really more based around technical skills. We fall back to technical skills, right? We, from an HR perspective, I think we're good at that, and not doing that. But the moment we give, from a talent selection standpoint, we just see this all the time. We deal with some of the largest companies in the world, right? Today we're running, Outmatch is running somewhere around 15 million candidates a year through our technology. And, so we just have this incredible position to deal with some of the most innovative companies in the world. But even in those, you see hiring managers still kind of revert back to what we know, which is, hey, can they sell? Can they code? Can they blah, blah, whatever it is? Can they do the the journal entries if they're an accountant or whatever it is, right? And that's how we're making hiring decisions. The need to really get serious in the talent selection process, where the most important thing that you're screening for are those enduring skills, that has got to lead the way. You can put somebody, and again, I'm not recommending, I know you couldn't do this across, let's say, a development organization for everybody, but you can train somebody in those technical skills. I mean, these are very often definable things that we can train into. But if somebody does not have those enduring skills, that has to be the point of the spear in the way that we're thinking about how do we select talent. That's got to infiltrate the assessment process. It's got to infiltrate the interview process. It's got to be throughout. And then when we get into development, one of the concepts that we talk about at Outmatch all the time with our clients is this concept of lifetime value of an employee, right? That we need to constantly be pushing the value that this person can create for our organization. And you only do that by taking a constant learning approach with that individual. Two things end up happening. Number one, you drive that value up over the life of that employee by helping them understand what are those enduring skills you need and how to acquire them. And we're all not naturally great at one versus another. My wife would tell you I'm not exactly the most empathetic guy on the planet, but I tend to be pretty creative, right? So, but that's okay. I can learn empathy. I can kind of do these things, right? And we can provide that constant feedback to keep growing the value of that organization. So that's number one, it drives value to the company. Number two, I can tell you right now, if you're not doing it, you're going to lose the person. Quite simply, you're just going to lose the person, right? They're going to go somewhere else who's going to make that investment, because your candidates and your employees also understand what's happening in the workforce around them. You've got to make that continuous investment in constant learning to continue to drive the value that person can create. They want to create it, and your organization needs it.
Correct. There's a study that person did last year. Excuse me. They surveyed 700 organizations and found out that the average employee only had 24 minutes a week. 24 minutes a week for formal learning. So something that HR can do is really encourage and reward continuous learning, right? So how do you encourage and reward continuous learning? Again, these kinds of rewards build habits, right? We need to be able to make sure that people understand that they should be taking the time to learn. Some of that needs to be self-directed. I think the traditional mindset, or in the past, a lot of individuals feel, teach me, teach me, teach me. I think we can also shift that mindset to how to enable you to learn, how to create opportunities for you to learn. And again, reward that learning so that it's reinforced within the individuals and the organizations as a whole. One of the things that's happening right now that I love, at different levels, I interact with different people within the Outmatch family. In our CTO's technical organization, they're reading a book to look at team structures, right? And one of the things he proposed is us in the product organization, why don't we read the same book? Because our teams work very closely together. And if we're thinking about ways we can optimize and improve, it's good for us to be on the same page. So that was a self-directed, that was really great. On the product team, we're also looking at other information, but we have teams encouraging each other to go out, buy books, and learn on our own. And then we create meetings to actually discuss our learnings and our findings, and we putting them in practice in real time. So that's an example of creating a culture of continuous learning, but also I think tactically HR can try and reward those things on an ongoing basis.
Here's a great, that stat is, I had actually never heard that before, about the 24 minutes of is the average amount of learning. Here's a great goal for everybody going into 2020. Like, really go hog wild with this, right? Like, go crazy with this and get a 300% improvement in learning across your organization. Just give people an hour a week. Like, I mean, it's a tiny piece of the time, right? And but you look at the the impact that could really have. And again, we're talking about totally unstructured stuff here, but there are obviously ways to really optimize this and really drive continuous learning. But that's pretty. I had never heard that number before. That's pretty incredible.